G'day YouTubers, here's a little tip on the care and maintenance of your outboard motor that I've just learnt, and I've been around boats for a long time. I didn't know this one. As it turns out, you should not leave your motor tipped up when you get home and it's on the trailer. It's a slightly different story if you've got it in dry storage and your motor's usually left tipped down, but the theme is basically the same. Too much of one or the other's not a good thing. I'll go into the details of it briefly, and you see what you think, but I certainly believe it. It makes sense to me, and I'll be doing this in the future. Let's check it out. Now here's a little tip that I actually didn't know until just recently, and that is that you shouldn't leave your motor tipped up like this when it's parked in the yard. And the reason behind it is quite simple really, and it never occurred to me that it was an issue. These rams here, hydraulic rams, have a coating of oil on them, and that's always there. If I'm spraying some oil around, I'll give them a bit of a spray just to make sure they stay coated and they don't rust or anything, because you don't want any pits in the hydraulic ram, otherwise that wrecks your seals. What I didn't know though was that by leaving them out, even if they're oiled, the seals themselves can deteriorate. By putting your motor down, pulling all those rams in, apparently that protects the seals. I've only heard it from one source, but it was a marine mechanic, and he seems quite knowledgeable on it. So I just thought I'd share that. It might save you some grief with your hydraulics. I know it quite possibly would have saved me some grief with a boat I'd owned previously had I known that, because I did end up having a little bit of issues with the hydraulics. I had to end up getting one of the units replaced on it. So anyway, for what it's worth, don't leave your motor like that. When you bring your boat home, trim your motor right down like that. The other thing is, it lets that little bit of water that's left after you flush the motor drain out. Now, as we just discussed, leaving your engine tipped up when you get home after trailering your boat is not really a good thing. It promotes damage to the seals in the hydraulics, and you can get corrosion on the rams themselves. Obviously things to avoid, because any work on hydraulics is expensive. But if you're in dry storage and you normally leave your engine tipped down, that also has a downside. Different reasons, but it's not a good thing either. Usually when it's fully down, the cylinders are tilted down a little bit towards the spark plug end, and the oil stays in the oil passages. It seeps into the cylinders and it works its way past the piston rings into the cylinder head, where it pools, ready for the next time you try to start your engine. Not the end of the world, but not good either. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo there, but what does it mean in practical terms? Well, it means that when you start your 4-stroke engine, you may get a bit of smoke like you would with a 2-stroke until the oil burns off. It means you'll foul your spark plugs quicker, because when the oil burns off, it forms a carbon on the spark plug which inhibits their ability to spark. And it means you'll use a bit more oil, so you should check your oil more regularly. If you're okay with all that, it probably won't do a great deal of harm. Tipping the engine up to trailer at home is going to allow all the oil to drain out of those oil passages down into the engine oil pan where it ought to be, and it won't create any of these problems. It would depend, of course, on how far away from your ramp you are. I'm an hour away from any ramp, so there's plenty of time for the oil to drain while I drive home. When I get home, I will certainly be putting my engine down from now on until I'm ready to go out again. If you're overnighting in your boat, or you've taken it away somewhere for a holiday, I don't think it really matters all that much what you do for 2 or 3 nights. This is just something I'm going to do from now on as a permanent thing at home, but if I'm out on the water for a night or two, then it just stays down. So yeah, for what it's worth, the only caveat with it is you must remember to tip your engine back up before you drive off. And after 50 years of not doing it, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I do load the boat the night before I go out, so I'll tip it up then. It's ready to hook up and go in the morning. I've got to climb up beside the engine, so hopefully I'll see that it's down. Well, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I do hope it's helped you reduce your maintenance costs on the engine. Everyone's got a different opinion on how best to look after your boat and engine. So if you have a different opinion, that's fine. If it works for you, well and good. This is just throwing this idea out because I think it makes sense to me, and I hope it helps someone. So there you have it. Until next time, good fishing.